All right, Davida, should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right, so for those of you who've just joined us, we had a little task on the front page asking you to record a short video clip, and we're going to use this to practice the publishing process. This will be a private video. It's not going to go up all over YouTube, but we're going to use it to practice today. So I want to talk first about ways that you can use your videos. Davida and I first did this presentation for teachers who were teaching face-to-face and using videos for their classes. Obviously, the situation's a lot different now where all of our courses are being delivered online. So you can obviously deliver lecture content via video, but students also use them for reviewing for quizzes and exams. And I like to use videos to answer student questions. Students email you and ask a question and you think, oh, I'm going to write this long email to explain this idea. But if you already have a video made about that topic, you can send them a link and it's a lot easier. It can also be really useful for distributing course information if something is easier explained verbally than written. That can be really a useful way to use video. Students can really benefit from videos in that if they miss a class session, whether it's an in-person class session or a synchronous Zoom class session, that doesn't mean that they're missing the content of the class. It's also just another way to communicate with students, and it allows them to watch and rewatch content so that they can really have that self-paced learning that's so beneficial. So students who get it quickly can just watch it through once quickly. Some students will even watch it at 1.5 speed if they really want to, but others can rewind and go back to catch the things that they missed. We'll use it to study after the fact for future exams. And I really like using YouTube because it's such a familiar format to so many of our students and to our colleagues. People are used to watching videos to learn how to do things. So YouTube is a really useful format for that. I also think it's a lot more efficient than just recording your Zoom session because you're going to be asking and answering questions, dealing with muting and unmuting in a Zoom session, whereas if you can record a short video, it's a lot more efficient to watch that back when you want to get that content. Now, many people will say, well, I'll just find a different video on YouTube, but I think there are a lot of benefits to making your own, especially in the sense of controlling exactly what you want in the video. You get to use the exact content you want to cover and your own personal style. You get to focus on one thing without a bunch of extra distractions. I have really enjoyed being able to build up my own library of teaching content, and I know that I'm able to use it for other classes down the road, and colleagues also use those videos as well. For example, if I'm teaching a class at PCC and I create a video for it, I can still use that video down the road when I'm teaching at another institution. So I know a lot of us are part-time faculty teaching at multiple places. Creating this content can be useful in the other places you're teaching as well. And especially in this online teaching time, students like to see their own instructor. It can be a good way to build connection between you and your students when we're all so far apart. And Davida and I think it's actually fun to create your own videos, and maybe you will too.
Yes, wait, just wait.
It's not always fun, but yeah, I have a good time. So when we spoke to some folks at PCC about things to consider in terms of accessibility when you're creating videos. And YouTube does automatically generate captions for your videos, but they don't have any like capitalization or punctuation, and sometimes they get words wrong. It's getting better and better, but they still get things wrong. But you can go in and easily edit them to correct those errors, and it's a lot easier than typing out and creating your own captions. I also recommended that you describe any visual aids, so any of your students who are visually impaired can still follow along with the video. We also recommended using a platform with a good screen reader and keyboard accessibility, and YouTube fits that bill. I want to talk a little bit about my recommendations for style when you're creating instructional videos. Now we have, as you guys know, a broad range of fields of people who are in this call, but I have just some general recommendations. Basically, I recommend to keep things really short. I don't know about you guys, but when I want to learn how to do something on YouTube, I'm not going to click on a 30-minute video when I just want to know how to do this thing. And the same goes when you're trying to learn content for one of your courses. When I think about an assignment, I think students might not want to watch a 10-minute lecture video, but sometimes they would watch 5 3-minute videos. And I don't know the psychology behind that, but even though it's more time, people will watch shorter videos. I recommend keeping things really specific, and this is a benefit so that people can find exactly what they're looking for. They find the correct video for the topic they're looking for to review for a test, for example, and they've got your video to fill that need. And I always recommend including a lot of examples or demonstrations to show students what they need to do and to sort of find those common things that students get hung up on and demonstrate what they need to do.
And I would just jump in to say that keeping it short can also help you as the person making the video stay on track, because you might want to just start going off on a bunch of different tangents, but if you know you're very limited in your time and your scope, it will really help you stay focused.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a very good point. Davida and I have also talked about learning from other people on YouTube about what style we like. We think about the style that you want, the purpose of your video, and how students are going to be using them. Davida and I are both English, we both teach ESOL, and so we look at examples of popular ESL YouTubers and the things that we like about their channels and don't like about their channels in terms of making videos for our classes. But Davida also has this workout YouTuber that really inspires her style about Davida, you always tell the story of how he's teaching this workout and his shoe falls off and he's like, it's okay. We're making mistakes and we're learning.
Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a teacher that you're getting inspiration from. You might find some inspiration from other people on YouTube of what types of videos you want to make for your students.
I think people worry about being professional. They think it has to be really perfect and polished to be professional, but it almost gets boring when it's so perfect. So seeing the body coach, seeing his shoe fall off his foot, it keeps me paying attention. He didn't do it on purpose, but it makes me laugh. So seeing a little slip up reminds you that the person is a fellow human being.
Yeah, and I also, I don't delete it when I make a mistake in a video. I just correct myself like I would if I were teaching in the classroom. And I think, at least in my field, teaching English as a second language, it's really good for students to see that their teacher makes a mistake and corrects it, and that's okay. All right, Davida, were there any questions so far?
No, there just have been some good comments. People are chiming in with some comments about short videos are good and captions are good because students are looking at videos with the sound turned off, so they like to follow along with the captions.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Awesome. Well, we're gonna ask you guys to type in the chat a little bit now, and I can't see the chat, so I'll have Davida call out some of the things she sees.
Yeah.
We want to talk a little bit about what's holding you back from creating your own instructional videos. So open up that chat and share what has prevented you in the past from making your own videos on YouTube for your students.
So one person said they've never done it before. How do we stop non-PCC students from doing it, from seeing it, like keeping it private? I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I never had to do this before because I never taught online before. I don't know how I start. I don't know how I organize. I need some kind of special software. It seems like too much work. It's going to take too much time. I don't have the right equipment. I want to model reading skills, but I don't know how to put a paragraph up to use as an example. That's an interesting one. That's from an ESOL teacher. I need the right equipment. So I see a lot of similar themes coming up.
Yeah, so these are all the things that we're holding Davida and I back at first too. You might see on our list that we created before the session some of the things that you guys were pointing out. And we're going to talk about some of those, but first we're just going to do it. We're just going to upload. You guys, a lot of you talked about technology and not knowing how to do it. So we're going to go straight into talking about the very few things that you do need and how to do it. And then we're going to come back and talk about some of these concerns that you guys expressed in the chat. We are going to talk about them, but I remember teaching Davida how to upload a video, and she's like, no, I'm just going to do it. And I thought that was a perfect attitude, and that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to jump into the technology and equipment that you're going to need. First one isn't really equipment, it's just a quiet place, because you don't want too much background noise. You need an internet-connected smartphone or tablet if you're teaching online. Most of you probably already have that. You need the YouTube app. I have gotten a couple of questions about this. It's just the same YouTube app that you would use to watch a video on your phone or your tablet. So a lot of you probably already have it installed. It's that same YouTube app you would have already had. You do need a non-PCC Gmail account to log into. For whatever reason, PCC's Google account doesn't allow for YouTube use, but I kind of prefer that because then, like I said, if you're teaching at another college, you've got it all, it's all yours. You also need something to prop up your phone or your tablet, and a little later on, we'll show you some examples of that. And then you need your teaching tools. For me, I use a whiteboard. You could use paper. I saw we have a lot of art instructors in the group, at least based on the sign up. So you might have your art materials, a lot of hands-on things. Depending on what type of videos you're making, you're going to need different tools. So that's really all you need in terms of technology and equipment. Now, most of you probably already know this, but we always cover it just in case. How to film with your camera app. So you open the camera app on your phone, choose whether you want that front or back facing filming. And we always tell people always film horizontally because it's going to show up a lot better when students are watching it. People always accidentally go vertically because that's how our phones fit better in our hands. But when you set it up, we want you to film horizontally. And then you press that record button and then press it again to end. You don't need to worry about that moment where you're leaning in to press the button to turn it on and off. That's actually the one thing that we are going to edit out, but it's very simple and we'll show you how to do it. So let's talk about the first time you upload. The first time you try to upload a video, which we're going to do today, it's going to prompt you to make sure you're logged into that Gmail account on your YouTube app. And it's going to prompt you to create a YouTube channel. This is not an involved process. It just involves choosing the name of your channel. But I do want you to be careful with this. You're probably logging in with like your personal Gmail account. So it'll pop up with your first and last name. I don't want you to change that because then it will change your display name on your email account. So in the future, if you decide to upload more videos, you might decide to create a separate Gmail account. That's what I've done, so that I can change the name of my YouTube channel to what I want it to be. Like my channel is called Teacher What I Do. And I like Davida's. Davida's is Rockstar English.
Yeah, so you can pick something that doesn't have your name, but that appeals to you and you would feel fine sharing with other people.
Mm-hmm. It's also going to prompt you to allow access to your microphone, your camera, and your pictures. And that's just something we have to do in order to upload from your phone to the internet. And you can change that setting later if you want to.
Yeah, some people get a little bit nervous, like, oh no, now I'm opening myself up to YouTube coming in and seeing everything that I have, but there really isn't a way to get around that. And like Diana said, you can go back and remove that permission later on if you want to.
So we're gonna watch a video next of how to upload from your device. But I wanted to check in, Davida, if there were any questions or comments you wanted to cover.
No, I think everybody is going to be ready to rock this.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, and before you show the clip, I was going to say, remember to do the optimize.
Yeah, I did it.
You did it. Oh, great. Okay.
So the next clip is going to be a screen capture that I did of me following this process on my phone. It might look a little bit different depending on what device you're using. The colors might look different, but the layout should be pretty similar. So we're going to get started and watch that video. Here I'll show you how to upload the video that you recorded in your camera app. We're going to start by pressing the video camera button at the top of the YouTube app. And we're going to choose to create a video. Here you're going to see all of the videos you have stored in your camera app, and you're going to choose the one that you want to upload. I'm going to choose this one on the top right that's 3 minutes and 13 seconds long. Then it pops up with the video auto playing, and you can use this blue box at the bottom to decide where you want the video to start. And you want it to start, you know, right before you start talking.
Today I want to talk about present perfect verbs and their basic
And then you can drag the right side of the box
present perfect verbs
to show where you end the video. Now I'm working on an iPhone and the box in this case is blue, but on some other operating systems it's a different color.
Today I want to talk about
And then we just need to press next. Here we have a screen where we can choose a title. I'm an English teacher and this is a grammar video about present perfect verbs. And you have the option to enter a description of your video. I'm going to do that later when I get onto my computer to look at it. And then last we have the privacy settings. When I first upload my videos, I usually choose private so that I can adjust it on my computer and add the description before I make it public. I do know some instructors who will make it public right away, just so that it's accessible to their students immediately. But you also have this unlisted option, which means that anybody can view it if you send them the direct link to that video, but nobody's going to find it in search results or suggestions or anything like that. So I usually choose private. And then all you have to do is go up to that top right corner and click upload. And that video is going to upload to your channel, and you'll be able to do a little bit more editing when you get onto your computer. So were you guys able, did people try to follow along with the process as you were watching?
So, okay, so some people are saying yes, some people are saying it's too fast. So that's perfect because we figured that would be the case, that some people would say no problem and some people would say, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. So we have a couple more things we want to share with you from that what's holding you back section of that slide from before. But then we're actually going to have a breakout room where Davida is going to go through the process more slowly. So let's talk about those things that might be holding you back. Technology was a big one for me. Thinking about editing, if you look back at some of the old videos on my channel, I actually did some editing with software at one of my other institutions, but we don't have time for that. So the technology that I use to create all my videos is really just what I've shown you already. I record them on my phone and then I upload them through the process that you just watched that video of. In terms of supplies, I have an old whiteboard. My partner's an engineer and he had an old whiteboard, so I use that. But you could use paper. We talked about using your hands-on supplies as well. In terms of lighting, I really just use I use my iPhone and it does pretty well. If I'm recording a video that's just my face or just hands-on things, then I just open all the windows, all the curtains in my house and use the natural light. And if I'm using a whiteboard, it can get some glare, so I just close all the curtains. And you might think that that would make it too dark, but our smartphone cameras now are so good. It really corrects for the light, and I'm really happy with how the lighting turns out. In terms of lack of technology confidence, that really changes with time and practicing this method. And Davita's going to take a group of you over to work on that process again. I know I went through it quickly. I made that in a YouTube video so that people could rewind and watch again. But the process, once you've done it a couple of times, is very simple. And I'm confident that if you're teaching online this quarter, then you'll definitely be able to do it. In terms of time, like I said, we're not going to do any editing. You already saw in that video clip all of the editing that I do for my instructional videos. And I film those videos in one take. Sometimes I'll do a second take if the baby cries really loud or I make a big mistake. But if you see a 4-minute video from me, I filmed that in less than 5 minutes. And so that really allows teachers to be able to make videos even though we don't have that much time. A lot of people have privacy concerns. I choose to make my videos public because I really enjoy seeing that people around the world are using them, and a lot more people are learning from home right now, and that's been fun to see. But I know a lot of people don't want their face on the internet. So I recommend using that unlisted setting that I mentioned in that video clip. In that way, you'll be able to send a link to your students or post it on in your class on D2L, and they'll be able to access it from the link, but people won't find it when they're just searching or browsing on YouTube. We talked, I had issues with perfectionism. I wanted these nice professional videos when I first started, but we talked about time before, and perfectionism and time just don't work together. So I had to sort of let go of making things perfect and just make videos that were helpful to my students. I mean, that's the main goal, right? To help our students. And putting videos out, even though they weren't perfect, was, for me, the best way to do that. Were there any questions that popped up?
Yes, we're getting a lot of questions now. I think you just answered the question about privacy, but I think people need to go through and see about the unlisted, private, and public. Those are the 3 topics they need to understand.
Yeah, so unfortunately, if you list it as private, no one will be able to see it, even your students. So if you want to use videos for your students but not have them public, I recommend that unlisted option, and then you share those direct links with your students.
Yeah, I think people are worried, like, if somebody searches my name, they're going to find this video. And it's not searchable. That's the meaning of unlisted. People are asking questions about scripting and preparation and outlining. I feel like that would be in your section at the end, Diana, right? Do you want to talk about that?
I'm going to talk more after we go to our breakout rooms. I'll talk more about this, but I'm going to talk more about planning, but I usually outline. And because of my field, the way I do it is I make my list of examples based on what points I want to cover. And then I just teach it as if I would, as I would in the classroom, and then follow those examples to sort of illustrate the different points I want to make. For me, scripting is not a good choice because I get lost in the words. So I just make an outline of the points I definitely want to cover and then just teach. A lot of you are teachers, some of you guys work in student services, but probably the things that you want to put in a video are things that you've said to your students many, many times. So teach like you're teaching to a student or explaining in office hours or something like that.
Right. Diana, we got a few questions about other videos people can upload. One person wants to know, can I upload a video from Instagram onto YouTube? And can I upload a video from my computer onto YouTube? We were just talking about using it on your phone, right? But
yeah, I don't know about Instagram. I imagine you would have to download it first and then upload it to YouTube. But if you're publishing something on Instagram, it's probably on your phone also. So you would be able to upload it to YouTube in this way. And as for publishing videos from your computer, we're not covering that in this session, but there is a resource on PCC's website for doing that, and it's on a list of resources that I'm planning on sending out. So if you want the list of resources that we're going to send out, make sure that you have put your PCC email in that chat.
Okay, and do you have time for a few more questions?
Sure.
I guess I didn't understand the comment. The question was more YouTube to Instagram, which maybe I could answer that once you've uploaded your video to YouTube, then you've got a nice link that you can just link or embed into Instagram. I don't really know how Instagram works. You could link to it. I don't know. Instagram people could speak up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't use Instagram either, but I think at some point you weren't able to link to things on Instagram, but I'm not an Instagram user. Unfortunately, I can't speak to that.
And then we also had another question. What format do you use to upload to YouTube?
I think this is probably somebody asking about uploading from their computer to YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I would recommend, I'm going to send out those resources after the session. And there is a step-by-step on the PCC website about how to upload from your computer, and it should include the file type that you need.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And for what we're assuming is that everybody's doing it on your phone, and then there's not really any kind of formatting. There are no formatting changes that need to happen. You've just got it and you put it right into the YouTube app.
Yeah. And that's the reason I do it that way is because of that time concern. The first few videos I made, I recorded on a nicer camera, and it was just a time suck for me.
Yeah. People are asking for all of the resources. I'm saying we're going to send out the slides and the recording of this and the resources when this is over.
Yeah.
And we're getting some more questions. People really want the hands-on help with doing it on your phone, and we're going to be getting to that really soon if people are still struggling with it. Let's get on
to that. The last thing I wanted to show you before that was some of our setups. This is Davida sitting at my station where I make videos. I just have a tripod, and I have this little phone clamp that's like the main thing that I've purchased for this, to point my phone at my setup. I've got the whiteboard, coffee table, a little IKEA stool, and that's what I use to film videos. But that's a lot of equipment. That's more than you need. This is when we filmed Davida's first video. It's in a PCC classroom, and we used a chair and a couple of dictionaries on top of a table. And the last one I have to show you is from our Anderson conference workshop. A teacher just propped her phone up on her coffee mug so that she could show where she was writing. So there are ways that you can really quickly put something out for your students to explain what they need to know.
And also, if you're a shy person, you don't want your face on there. Mm-hmm. That's a nice way to get around that you just see your hand and the pen and paper.
Yeah, for our discipline, it's really important to have our faces because students who are learning English really benefit from seeing the face, but in a lot of fields, it might be a little less important. I'm going to talk about two things in this second part. I'm going to talk about planning your videos and I'm going to give you a short tour of what you'll see on the computer after you've uploaded your video. So first, to talk about planning, you want to think about whether the material that you're doing is suitable for a video format or if it would be better in a written format. I like to point this out because I know a lot of people want to use technology sometimes for the sake of technology, and we really want to choose the format that is best suited for the material. I also always look at what resources are already available, what videos are already online. We don't have unlimited time, so if there's already an existing video on the topic that you want to cover that you like, then use it. I have a few YouTubers that also create really short, really good, concise videos on my topics, and I check their channels first to see if they have a video on the topic that I want. And then I create my own videos for the topics that I didn't find one that I really, really liked. On that note, you also have to consider your available planning time. Like I said, we don't have unlimited time. We can only do what we can do. And so that's why we're offering a sort of brief way to create your own videos. So when you're planning a video, you want to think about a few different parts. Thinking about the explanation of the main focus of your video. What are you trying to cover? And then think of examples to help show the specific points that you want to make. I make a lot of grammar videos, so I try to choose examples that will show all the features of the main grammar point that I'm covering. And really spend some time thinking about the common things that trip your students up, things that you get those questions about over and over again, and how you can sort of answer that. Because you're not getting the feedback in class that you usually would, it's important to think about what common issues will come up and address those right away. I recommend, like we talked about before, thinking through what you're going to say, but not necessarily scripting it, because that's gonna trip you up, and at least for me, it trips me up and makes me stop or have to start over. For me, it's a lot better to think through what I'm gonna say, maybe have an outline, and then improvise the exact words that I'm gonna say. I always recommend planning a few different videos at once so that you can record a few videos in one sitting. You saw my setup for recording videos isn't super complicated, but it takes a few minutes to set up. I have to find a time when my baby's asleep or out of the house with my partner. Creating that time and space for filming videos is a lot more efficient if you're doing a few different videos at one time. Like I said, I like to film several videos in one sitting and to film each one in 1 or 2 takes. And you're not stopping and starting, you're just recording all the way through at once. You might make a few little bumbles or mistakes, and we're just gonna keep going, correct yourself, and move on. And we're not gonna really edit. There are some simple things where you can just delete one little thing once we get onto the Creator Studio. But for the most part, we don't have time to make highly edited videos. So we want to not worry about small mistakes and get that content out to our students so that they can use it. In terms of sharing videos with students, there are a couple of different things you can do. I like to create a playlist of my videos, and that is often a mix of videos that I found from other teachers and my own videos. And then you can share, I can share that link either on D2L or via email with my students. The other option is to just embed or link individual videos on D2L or in an email. The only concern with playlists is that I'm fairly certain you cannot include unlisted videos in a playlist and share it. I think your videos would have to be public for that. So if you're one of the many teachers that wants to keep their videos unlisted for privacy reasons, you'll need to link or embed each video individually. Then I want to take a little peek at the Creator Studio, or I guess it's called YouTube Studio now. It's just studio.youtube.com, and when you're logged into your account, you'll be able to see something that looks somewhat like this. And I want to show you a few different features of that. I'm going to start by looking at videos. So this shows the individual videos on my channel. And if you click on a video, like this is one of those present perfect videos that I published, you can see, of course, the title. You can change that from what you uploaded. You can type in a description to add more detail about what's in your video. You can change the thumbnail. I usually just choose one of the automatically generated thumbnails that's here. But you can upload one if you want to, but that's just an extra step that we don't have a ton of time for. And then over here on the right side, you can change the status of your video, the privacy status. Like I said, I publish mine as public just because because I put some work into making them, I enjoy that other students around the world are using them. That's sort of the details page of an individual video of what you can edit and change. Over here on the left side, I also want to look at the editor part. Now, I don't use this very often because I really just do those one-take videos where I just correct my mistakes as I go. But if you want to, if you made one big mistake or there was one big loud sound that you just want to delete, you can go through the video and use this trim function to split it and delete a little chunk. So that is an option, and I've done it occasionally, but for the most part, I don't use that. But that's what the editor can do. It has a couple of other features, but I think that's, for teachers, that's the main thing that I would recommend using the editor for. We also have this subtitles section where it'll automatically generate subtitles for you, but you can go in and edit them. So you can see along the side here, all of the text is lowercase. There isn't really any punctuation, but it's got most of the text time-stamped. And you can press play and listen through and edit as you go. You've got to choose this edit, and then it'll allow you to edit this text. We don't need to listen to my English video, but you can edit that text as you go through. Now, I talk pretty slowly in my videos because they're for language learners. If you speak more quickly, there might be a few more mistakes in your captions. All right.
So, Diana, we have a question here from Julia has asked, do people ever speed up videos from the edit function before making public, so before publishing it?
Oh, I have never done that before. I know that students can watch them at a quicker pace if they want to, but I've never sped something up.
Also, a question about, is it multilingual? Oh, okay, so for the captions?
Yeah, so you can add subtitles in other languages. I haven't done that because I'm just teaching English, but I occasionally have had viewers add subtitles in their native language. That's happened once or twice. I don't do that because I'm not fluent in another language, but I think it's possible to add subtitles in another language. And really the last thing that I wanted to show you was back in this studio on the left. back on the main studio page, I wanted to look at this playlist button. Now this is where you can create those playlists that I was talking about earlier, where you can make a playlist public, unlisted, or private. Since this is just an example, make it private. And then in that playlist, you're going to be able to add videos. Gosh, here it is. Add videos, and you can search for videos from other people. You can put in the direct URL of a video you want to add, or you can browse your own YouTube videos and click on the ones that you want to add to your playlist. So say I'm making a playlist about videos about past perfect verbs. I would select both of those and add them to the playlist. Maybe I also want to add a video from another person. We'll see a bunch of videos show up. And I like this teacher, so I'll add her video. So I will often use a playlist like this to share videos with my students. Because this is private, we can't, let me change it to unlisted. So you'll be able to share a link to that video with your student, to that playlist with your students. Any questions about playlists?
No, just that looks like a great idea.
Yeah, it's really useful because, you know, we don't have to make new content for everything. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you find something that really works from someone else, use that, and then make your content for the rest. All right, that is actually the end of our presentation. So I will come back. I'll stop sharing and open it up if anybody has any other questions that weren't covered.
There's a question
today.
from Melanie. Do you share the playlist as a link or embed on the page?
I share the playlist as a link because I'm not sure if you can embed a playlist. But I would share, yeah, I would just link to the playlist, and then it'll pull up YouTube either on the student's computer or their device, and it'll play through all of those videos. It was not intentional to check collaborate. That's not a feature that I generally use. I think that would be if you wanted to allow others to add videos to your playlist as well. I think a lot of students are playing videos on their phones, and that's why I like to use YouTube, is because a lot of students, that's their main device, and that's where they're watching that content. Yeah, most people create, I think, a new Gmail address. Like I have a separate Gmail address just for my YouTube channel because I don't, and that's the display name. My YouTube channel is the display name on that Gmail account. So I really suggest creating a separate account if you want to create more videos and don't want your name listed.
Yeah, thank you, Diana and Davida. This excellent session, very informative. And I know Davida is still in the breakout room.
Yeah.
With folks. Also, I wanted to remind everyone that the ITS are available to help with this one-on-one if you have questions. And actually on Friday, there's going to be a open lab session from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I know Andre's going to be there. Melanie, I'm not sure if you're going to be there, but who else? But and a couple of the ITS I will be there to help one-on-ones. If you have questions, I just sent the link also in the chat to the workshop schedule, and you can find the link there to the one-on-one drop-in session as well. So feel free to visit.
Yeah, and thanks
Great.
to everybody who came. If you benefited from the session, send the link to colleagues. We're going to do this again next Tuesday at 11.